Alright, good morning all. We're up here with one of the last colts of the season for me to start this year. And this here is Goose. He's a 3-year-old quarter horse. And we've had him in now since Wednesday last week, but he's only actually had 4 lessons since he's been here because of the weather and whatnot. But this guy, he's a nice little colt. He's pretty laid back up to this point. He's had some handling and some work done to him before we got here, and or before he came to me. And he's just a nice little gentle, laid back colt. Nothing really's bothered him all through the 4 lessons that we've done with him. I've been on and off him already 2 or 3 times, and he just kind of stands at the rail and doesn't get upset. And the only humping around he's did is when I first put the saddle on him the second day. He wasn't real used to this with the flank cinch being up on his belly, and he humped around a little bit for that. And then day before yesterday, I had him saddled up, and I was working with my friend Delonte Scott out here. He wanted to, learn how to train colts and stuff because he's got colts of his own. And he just didn't really want to wake up, so I kind of slapped the side of the saddle, and that made him hump a little bit too. So the only real thing I got with him is he's almost too laid back sometimes, and you got to wake him up and keep his mind on his business and keep him concentrating. But I'd rather have that than one that's just totally fractious and loses their mind at the drop of a hat too. You can always wake them up and get them better. But we're doing this video today for my friend Delonte. He is trying out for the Green Bay Packers this year, and he played for them a couple years running. And I hooked up with him earlier this summer, and he wanted to come out and watch what I do and learn some of the stuff that I do with these colts, because he eventually wants to have a horse place of his own down in Texas. And he was going to come out yesterday and watch me ride, but unfortunately he got picked up by the Pittsburgh Steelers and had to leave Sunday night or Monday night to go to Pittsburgh and play for them. So I'm doing this video just for him, really, so that he can watch me put the first ride on this horse today. If he does good on the ground, we're going to try and put a first ride on him today. And so Delonte, this one's for you. So we're going to get started with him here. We're going to do a little bit of warming up groundwork, see how he's listening for me and how he's paying attention. And he did a little bit of a jump when I was saddling him over at the trailer today. He was kind of nodding out, and I don't know if the cat ran between his legs or he saw Vicky pulling weeds and throwing him over the fence. I don't know which, but he kind of jumped and took a jump towards me, and I had to get out of his way and get him settled down a little bit. But he settled right back down again, and it wasn't any big deal. But that's something you got to watch with these young horses and ones that are a little bit laid back, that they might just nod off a little bit, and then something surprises them and they'll take a jump with you trying to figure out what it is. So keep that in mind when you're working with those real laid back horses. He's picked up on this groundwork and stuff pretty well. He listens well. He hasn't had a whole lot of practice with his bending and flexing and his footwork, and he's only 3 years old, so he's still a little bit gangly. And if I do ride him today, I got to be careful with him to make sure that he doesn't lose his footing and we have a crash on the first ride because he slips or falls or something. But I don't think he's going to take off lickety-split like some colts do. He's still a little bit weak on his bending. But I think it's enough. I've got good control of his hindquarters from the ground. He doesn't really want to step over too much in the back yet, but that's okay. But as long as I can control these feet and keep him settled, we'll be fine. And I've had my foot in the stirrup and crawled up the side of him, and he's been good about all of that too. So, but one thing you'll notice with him too is I'm not going to do a whole lot of prep work with him because I don't think he needs it. You know, I don't need to try and tire him out a little bit just to get on him and really control the situation. So we're going to do just some minimal stuff, review some of the things that we've worked on here on the ground, and trust him that he's going to do a good job like he's done all along. And when I do these first rides, it's not about getting going fast or loping him around this round pen or doing a bunch of crazy stuff. I'm going to set him up on the rail. I'm going to set him up on the rail and crawl on him and just sit there and kind of wait him out. Yesterday he was perfectly content about sitting on the rail and not going anywhere. He'll probably do the same thing today, so I might have to shift my weight a little bit and bend his nose and try and get him set up to get started here to take a couple of steps. But you never know with these guys. Today he's started out with a little bit more energy this morning. A little bit spooky because of the wind, maybe. But you can see most of the time he's just come right up here and stood too, without me having to do a whole lot. But today he's a little bit jumpy. So we'll not just go right off the bat. We're going to sit here a minute. And it's not like he's been, this is the first time he's had somebody on his back either. Last year they had their little kids on him and they led him around with little kids on his back. They've ponied him with another horse. So it's not that he's totally unfamiliar with having somebody up here on him. Yesterday I also worked with the day before yesterday I also worked with the sand pants with them. So just kind of shift my weight here a little bit and see if I can get him to take a step out. See, a lot of people don't really want them to go backwards either, and I don't either. I'd rather them go forwards. But if they're calm about it and they take a couple steps back to get their weight settled, and I can work on getting her feet moving someplace else a little bit. See there, he's starting to resist against me a little bit. I don't want that. So I'm just going to keep shifting here. He'll get tired of standing here eventually, and he'll take a step. Most of this, though, is just he's gangly and young, and he's got to figure out how to get his feet underneath him and be able to move with me sitting up here. And every time he takes a step, we're just going to relax and let him think about that and let him figure out that he can actually take a step and not be afraid about it. And it might take him a little bit just to move his hindquarters around and figure things out here. Be able to sit back on himself a little bit. Right now he's got his weight all forward, and that's why he can't get his front feet out of the ground. Alright, let's see if we'll go back the other way. Pick him up a little bit. See, a lot of people, I think, would just, after watching cold start clinics and stuff, they'd say, well, just get behind him with a flag and bunch him up and get him going with a bunch and have him moving out. And it's like, yeah, that's all well and good when you got 8 or 10 other colts in here that he can play bumper cars off of and learn how to move around and be fairly secure with a bunch of other horses. But when it's just me and him, you know, I want to do this nice and easy and just give him the opportunity to figure things out. I don't need to get going lickety-split here. If we have to sit here a while and let him get bored, then that's okay. There we go. Couple of little steps. I don't need him to just go straight forward. I want him to figure out how to move those feet. So if you go side to side a little bit, kind of unlock those feet, and then he can figure out how to get moving forward. Good boy. You know, and he knows He knows how to follow this street. So now he thinks he wants to go eat. That's what we got to be careful of. Boy. Tied my reins a little bit short this morning. Should have gave him another 6-8 inches or so. Would have been easier to hold on to this night latch and not bind him up with that outside rein. Yet I am kind of using my legs on him because he's not fractious about my legs coming down, so I'm putting my legs and squeezing a little bit here and there. When I'm turning him, I'm using my leg to give him the feel, and maybe moving those front quarters around a little bit, moving his hind quarters off my foot. And just reviewing all the stuff that we did on the ground. How long have we been going? 18? All right. Well, Delonte, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing here on his first ride. We're not going to go a whole lot longer with him. We're going to try and get him turned around here and do a little bit more, but pretty nice first ride on this young horse, and I think it'll be a lot better tomorrow and the next day, and we'll be heading down the trail with him pretty soon. Y'all have a good one.